Quick Slants is presented by your local New England Honda dealers.
What's up, everybody? It has been a long, long time since the Patriots beat a team that was superior to them. They could thrash the dregs of the league, but get in with a team on their level or better? Check, please. Welcome into Quick Slants. We got Phil Perry with us today. And that fact that they couldn't hang with superior teams is why Sunday was so unexpectedly delicious. The Patriots were, by most measures, the worst team in the league. They were 8-point dogs against an AFC elite, and they took the fight to the Buffalo Bills. Doesn't matter that it gets them to 2-5. That stadium rocked like it was a playoff win. So now what? Well, nitwits like me who said this could be a good team, they can say that's what I was talking about. Weeks 4 through 6 was the worst football we've seen from this franchise in more than 30 years. But what happened Sunday made us all put down our shovels for just a second. Are they alive? But now, they got to do it again. All right, it's time for the game plan. Lockdown. Is Bill Belichick actually sticking around for a long, long time? We'll talk about it. Keeping it real. I think that's really important for people this week with the Patriots' success. Paper Dolphins, we'll talk to Omar Kelly, who covers the Dolphins, about how good they are. And, of course, there's always audience participation. We appreciate you being here every single week with us. And we appreciate Phil Perry whenever he is in a house. And he is right now. Phil, welcome. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. What a saucy entrance by you. Showing a little leg to kick off the program. My goodness. Oh, and he's flexible. Love it.
I am pliable as a mother scratcher. It's interesting when you look at this Patriots team and the move that they just made with Malik Cunningham, which we will explore. It's still wild behavior down there at times, but at least they got that dub.
Unbelievable. And they needed it. They needed it badly. Mac Jones needed it badly. We're going to talk about the offensive line a little bit later. They needed it badly as well, Tom. I think spirits are a little higher, safe to say, this week after a win over a division rival.
It changes every bit of conversation. Meanwhile, it's time now for Quickfire. And we'll bring in our guy, Stevie Hamlin, who will quarterback it for us this week. Hi, Stevie.
What's going on, fellas? We got a little audible here. Malik Cunningham cut. So what do you think about that?
To me, Phil, I'm guessing this is a Malik in trouble as a temporary thing. He will be back before too long, but again, it underscores the decision made to have him as a backup quarterback. He's expendable 8 days later? My God. But there's upside to the player, and I would be surprised if this isn't temporary.
Yeah, but you never know, Tom. That's what's curious to me is he was the backup quarterback 2 weeks ago. Even if he wasn't truly a backup quarterback, you had a package of plays in what was, at the time, seemingly a must-win game on the road. And now, all of a sudden, he's expendable? For what? Who are they bringing in? Who are now they going to place on the 53-man roster in his place? Even if you can get him on the practice squad, Bill Belichick has told us before, you waive somebody, you have to be cool with letting them go forever. So there's no guarantee he is back. Maybe somebody saw something in him that they liked.
Stevie.
Hey, we got Ian Rappaport. Take a listen to this sound.
According to sources, Bill Belichick and the Patriots earlier this offseason very quietly agreed to terms on a lucrative multi-year new contract for Bill Belichick, locking him in for the next several years.
In the immortal words of Jerry Seinfeld, what's the deal with that?
Stevie, I want everyone to concentrate on when Rapp says new deal. Okay, so new deal means if 2023 was part of the deal, it was shredded. I'm starting to suspect it wasn't part of the deal. I'm starting to suspect that 2022 is when Bill's deal expired and none of us knew it. I did have a little birdie tell me in September of 21 that Bill's up after 2022, but it was a little far removed from being somebody I could lock down and go with. But now that I look at this and the fact that it could be a new deal and that it is multi-year, but I'm hearing that it goes to 2024, that means this new deal is only for 2 years. And Phil, more than anything, I think the upshot of this is it still wouldn't preclude the Patriots from moving on from Bill if there are more games like Dallas and New Orleans in the next 10 games and fewer games like the Bills game.
That's the important part to remember. What does it mean? What does it mean? Why the people come to NBC Sports Boston for their Patriots coverage, we tell you what it means. And Tom, if this runs only through 2024, that to me is actually on the shorter end of what might have been possible with Bill Belichick's deal. To me, I don't think anything changes in terms of the likelihood as to whether or not he is the head coach for the New England Patriots in 2024, because it all depends on how this team performs this year.
Stevie.
Hey, take a look at all these guys we got coming up at the end of the year here. Henry, Bourne, Brown, Duggar, Uche, all these guys. So is it time to trade them in?
Boy, it's going to be fascinating. My take on this, Steve Hamlin and Phil Perry, is that I don't think there's going to be a lot of takers for the players the Patriots have available, because remember, every single one of those guys has an expiring contract, so you're renting him for 8 games. So you're going to give up a 4th-round pick and maybe not be able to re-sign the player? Phil, do you think that's value?
It is worth a bit of a chin scratch. I agree with you there, Tom, but these are the kinds of deals that, generally speaking, happen right around the deadline. There was an interesting one just last year. Robert Quinn, ancient Robert Quinn, coming off the edge for the Bears, actually had a couple years on his contract, completely wiped away. He was sent to the Eagles looking for some pass rush help for a 4th-round pick, and the guy only had 1 sack at the time. So you'll see some relatively valuable picks get dealt this time of year, and they'll make you say, was that guy really worth that? Now, I think the Patriots should be sellers, Tom. Will they be? Will Bill Belichick be willing to sell? When he looks at the Lions last year, said, they started 1-6 and they ended up with 9 wins. Could we not do the same thing? Important to note, a little bit of a fine print mention here. The Lions still didn't make the playoffs last year. The Patriots should be sellers.
It's going to be fascinating to watch, especially depending upon what happens in Miami. Stevie.
All right, PFF grades. We got Trent Brown, number 1 left tackle in the NFL. Jabril Peppers, number 4 safety. Jelani Tavai, top 10 linebacker. You see the guys on the right, not so good. So highs and lows, what do you guys got?
Boy, Phil, I want you to take this first, and then I'll follow up.
Well, I look at Jabril Peppers, and I say, what a signing that was initially, and yet he got out to a slow start with the Patriots because he's coming back off of injury. But on the field, plays with passion, plays with tangible energy. He seemingly now, Tom, the last 3 weeks or so, makes a big play every single game. We saw him speak up in the locker room after the game in a video provided by the Patriots. I feel like this is one guy who is under contract for next year, who's a veteran that you could look to next year and say, I wouldn't mind that guy being part of my core.
At what point last year did you start realizing Jabril Peppers was kind of a straw that stirs the drink? Probably took me until about week 8, 9, 10 when I said, he's just demolishing people.
Well, I think it took him that long, Tom, to feel healthy. I think he would tell you that it took him some time to feel like he had his legs underneath him. You started to see what he could be, and now this year he looks even better. Yeah,
Pro Bowl level performance from him so far, and I'm not surprised at Jelani Tavai's numbers right now. There was a pressure that he applied the other day, and again, PFF is not gospel, but it does give you an indicator of who's playing well. He had a pressure on Josh Allen the other day on a 3rd down. He dogged him right out of the pocket to the sideline, was unable to complete, and the Patriots had a great game plan. It's the speed and the size of Tavai that makes him the Patriots' best linebacker right now. Stevie!
All right, guys, we all know the standings. Patriots are last in the AFC, but one thing they're not last in, division wins, 2-1. Opportunity knocks.
Opportunity does knock because the Patriots are going to be at the Dolphins this week, of course. They could even up with them. They could go to 2-0 against the Jets. My God, Phil, could this team finish 5-1 in the division?
I mean, they could mathematically. You want to get out the abacus? Of course, yes, sure. I think the question now is, can you sustain what you showed last week against Buffalo? And if you can do it against a Miami team that is banged up right now and really hasn't beaten all that many impressive opponents this year, then we can start talking about how wide that window to the division has been flung open for the Patriots.
Very interesting, though. Stevie.
We got Matthew Slater here bringing the team in for the postgame huddle. Take a listen.
What I saw today was not individuals, was not a team. I saw a family. Well, and we could do something with that, fellas.
Amen. Hey, we come in this week. We work this week. Let's go.
It ain't gonna be no all yes today. It's family on 3. 1, 2, 3. Family! Come on, Slate.
Craig McCormick wants to know, How do you feel about the end of the "oh yeah" or is it "oh no"?
Yeah, Teddy Bruschi said he thought that Slate made the right call. And Phil, I do too, because there is no more gifted orator in the Bay State right now than Matthew Slater, and I think he hit the nail on the head.
I think he did too. This win was all about complimentary football. You talk to players after the fact. It was the definition of a team win. A lot of questions about Mac Jones, what this means for him moving forward, and rightfully so. But the players will remind you this was about everyone. So I wonder if they'll stick with that family message after wins.
Maybe it's time to start turning the page in general. Steve Hamblin, fantastic work. I appreciate you. Are you still with us, or do I just take the wheel now? All right. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for From the Stands. I asked you on Twitter, how drastically will Sunday's stirring win over the Bills change the arc of the Patriots season? Overwhelmingly, you asked me after the Miami game. I kind of knew that was coming. It was hard for me to come up with 3, but Not At All Still Stink comes in with 26.5%, and it changes everything at 7.6. I'm going to find my mark.
The people know what they're talking about. Wisdom of the masses, Tom. You ever heard of that? I would agree with all.
Well, let's listen to Brian Pilo, who every single week chimes in and does a nice job of it. I think we have to see the Patriots string some of these games together before we think it changes everything. So not only ask me after Miami, but ask at the end of next month. Fair. Jay Viper TV, love this guy. Need to see 2 in a row. Team is 2-5, fam, not 4-3. Tommy Morrissey says, I need to see a Curran special, a.k.a. a moral victory at Hard Rock. I wonder if I can give one out. All right, that's going to take care of that. Phil, does it change your tune? Because we're going to talk about that a little bit in the next block.
It doesn't. I'm with the people here, Tom. This is related to your moral victory take. The moral victory is something you look back on. Yeah. And if it's something that changed the way things are done moving forward, then we can look back on it and say, you know what, that win did change everything, past tense, not present.
Yeah, I did abolish the moral victory handed out in week 1 when the Patriots followed up with the same idiotic mistakes in week 2 against Miami. They're going to try and avoid those idiotic mistakes. This Sunday, we will talk to Omar Kelly in just a bit, who covers the Dolphins. But coming up at 6:30, do you guys hate when I scream like that?
Why are you yelling at us?
I've watched this show back before, and I say, why do I do that? Our Bella Early edition with Trenny. Tommy Giles is in for Trenny today. So much more on the Patriots' upset win over the Bills. Up next, we're going to talk about what I was discussing. How does Sunday's win change things for the Patriots? I'll tell you how. Growth Potential, brought to you by Dr. Matthew Lepresti. Look younger, feel younger, get your hair back with Leonard Hair Transplant Associates. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the strength of schedule so far for the Patriots and Dolphins. The Patriots have had the most difficult slate in the league. Miami, the 3rd easiest. So, chew on that for a moment while I get you ready for my slant. Watch out! Stop chewing. I believe that Sunday's win, referring back to our poll question, does indeed change everything for the Patriots. And this is why. And this is keeping it real. It validates Mac Jones, who has talked about his process. It validates the fact that Bill O'Brien coming in and installing something that Mac Jones was comfortable with can actually work. It validates that this offensive line can protect if it gets together and doesn't jump off sides. It also validates the fact that Bill Belichick has their ear. It was funny, Mike Gesicki last week, Gesicki, I continue to do that. When I asked him last week whether or not this Patriots team, which was flagging at the time, was still heading in the right direction, Gesicki, who played for the Miami Dolphins when they stunk, said, we are going about it the right way. Guys are coming in every single day trying to get better. I'm seeing nothing that indicates people pulling in the wrong direction. So, when we're looking at this team still having buy-in, now seeing a Miami team that might not be as good as it seems to be, then a Commanders team, then a Colts team, Denver's still on the schedule, Jets are still on the schedule, they've already beaten the Bills once. There are opportunities out there. I said recently, the wins are everywhere. And they kind of are. That's why I look at this team, and it does change everything. All they needed was one sliver of proof that they are who I thought they were. Phil?
Boy, oh boy, we just feel very differently about this because I believe trust, belief, buy-in, validation, to steal your word, requires weeks of evidence, not one. Yes, I think they did get a little bit more belief with that win on Sunday in their quarterback, in the overall operation, that when things go the way they're supposed to go, they can beat a really good team, which I still believe Buffalo will be by year's end. But do they really have the look to you of a contending team? That, to me, is something that we're going to have to wait a month, maybe more, to truly decide, because there's too much evidence, Tom, that's on the other end of the spectrum.
All right, Phil. Well, meanwhile, we haven't really discussed the defense too much. Let's get into some sound from Jerod Mayo today, who spoke about some issues the defense had.
What'd you think of the tackling last week?
Oh, you came out with fastball off jump. Honestly, overall, I would say, the defense played well schematically and knowing what to do. But at the end of the day, it always comes back to fundamentals. And once again, we're always working on tackling each and every day. So it was kind of disappointing to see how many missed tackles we had. Gave away a lot of yards due to missed tackles. Obviously, we watched that game, but at the same time, I would say the game against the Bills was more of an outlier as far as our tackling is concerned.
Better be an outlier, huh, Phil? That's former co-host, Quick Slants co-host Jerod Mayo, because they're going to need to do some tackling Sunday.
Oh, boy. And against this team, where if you miss one, the guy might be gone for 80 yards and a touchdown, there is no doubt. I just wonder how they play it, Tom. Are they going back to that Big 12 defense with the 3 deep safeties, making sure they protect against the explosive play? A little bit of cover 2, which is what the Eagles did against the Dolphins this week. They had some success with that. So I wonder if the Patriots get a little soft. They've been aggressive all year. They might have to be a little bit softer this week.
Well, if they could score points, you can play as soft as you want. Extend the game, extend your ability to hang around. Just don't make mistakes early to put you in that kind of hole where it just scraps everything you want to do. There I go, yelling again. All right, coming up next, we're going to go behind enemy lines. I got Dolphins reporter Omar Kelly on the Patriots Talk podcast. We're going to look ahead to Sunday's game. More Quick Slants right after this. Watch out. Hey, Wednesday at 5:30. 5:30, I said, not 6. Catch the game plan. Disco Tommy Giles will have the latest from Foxboro as the Patriots get ready to visit the Dolphins. The game plan is presented by your local New England Honda dealers. Meanwhile, let's take a look at the 2 games that Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa have in common. Look what they've done against both the Bills and the Eagles. You done looking? Yeah? Okay. Because that's presented by Shaw's Perfecting the Art of Fresh. It's interesting when you look at that, Mac has the upper hand in a big way statistically. Tua, his 2 worst games. More on the former Alabama teammates and their matchup this Sunday in Miami with Omar Kelly.
Here he is, Omar Kelly. Omar, suddenly you got a New England Patriots fan base that is riding high, and they're looking in Miami, and they're actually licking their chops. A team that put up 70 in week 2 against the Patriots team that lost 34-0 to the Saints. And people going, you know what? I think I can take this guy.
All of a sudden, you beat one team and you get all high and mighty about yourself, and you find out your head coach, the legend, has got a contract extension, and you're all confident, huh, Patriots fans? Yeah. It will be an interesting game from the standpoint. Miami's coming off a low, having lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. Hell, they just found out they're the Hard Knocks team by force. So now they're going to have the intrusion into their locker room probably starting next week as they prepare to go to Germany. But this is a game where they got to get locked in. They got to get focused. They know it's a division opponent. They know they have to take care of business. They already beat the Patriots. Nobody's scared of Mac Jones. And really, this team is basically trying to lick their wounds, trying to get right again.
Let me ask you this. When you look at the 2 losses that Miami has had against Philadelphia and against the Bills, the Patriots were more competitive against Philadelphia in the opener, and they beat the Bills.
Yeah.
Ipso facto, Patriots better than Miami.
Skill-wise, no, because I don't think
they're not.
I don't think you have a skilled player that would start for Miami at any position.
No, I'm
maybe you're better in the trenches.
No, they're not. I guess my question is, this isn't even is the gap smaller. The question is more this, Omar. Is Miami kind of going through the ebbs and flows of a season? You start great. The September hero always has to come back to earth a little bit and refine itself.
I think they can't beat the elite teams on the road. And I think that this offense doesn't travel well. They do a lot of motions, a lot of shifting, a lot of timing stuff with the jet sweeps and stuff like that. And when you have to go to a silent count, the rhythm of it can be kind of off. And I'm seeing, it's a hostile environment. There's crowd noise. You got to go to a silent count. But Tua can't be out there communicating with his guys the way that he usually does at home. That's why you've seen them blow teams out at home, other than the heat and humidity in South Florida. Yeah. They've blown teams out at home, but then they've struggled on the road. I think the most competitive games that they played this season on the road was New England. I mean, that was a fourth quarter game.
Yep.
I know the season opener against Chargers was a competitive game, but that you've been to the Chargers. They don't have home field advantage. That crowd was probably 40%, if not 50% Dolphins fans. So I think these hostile environments against physical teams that can beat them up in the trenches, which Buffalo's got a top 5 defensive line. The Eagles have a top 5 defensive line. I think those are where they face their greatest challenges.
All right. I did a podcast with you. We've been going back and forth. We love doing this when the Patriots and Dolphins play. And in that podcast early in the season,
it's a lot better when you're not a juggernaut, just by the way.
No. I was sitting pretty for 20 years, Dolphins fans. I mean, just point at the quarterback and go,
you shoo us away like that.
You guys aren't even watching football down there. Don't tell me what I don't know. So I led with my chin on a podcast with you when your friend Alan asked me a little bit about Mac Jones. I said, I don't think there's a big difference between Mac and Tua. I said, I actually think Mac's better than Tua. And your eyes shot out of your head. And Alan did one of those. And I went on to kind of, tepidly make my case.
Yeah.
Then Miami beat the Patriots. Then Miami scored 70. Then Miami just stampeded through the league. And Tua got on me and got on me good. Now I'm going back on your podcast today.
Listen, you got to fear Tua, brother. That thing is, they are the most forceful power in the NFL.
But what about the life preserver I got thrown on Sunday?
Listen.
I got thrown a life preserver.
You did. You did. Listen, Mac Jones, I don't understand. And we talked about this previously. I think Bill Belichick, the GM, is going to get Bill Belichick, the head coach, fired eventually. How you can't give Mac Jones more? You got to coddle quarterback.
Protect him. That's it. Start with the offensive line.
You got to coddle quarterbacks. Get him some weapons. Protect him, and then we can see what he can become. I don't think Mac Jones is trash. I don't think he's got weapons around him. I don't think he's got help around him. And that, at least he has an offensive coordinator this year. Mm-hmm. So, but the question is, can he do enough to sustain drives and be efficient on third downs and score in the red zone? And I think he is a quarterback that can do that. But with what weapons, though?
What weapons, though? That's the eternal question for the last 5 years, maybe even more here in New England. Stay tuned. We have early edition coming up in 2 seconds. Tom and Giles!